What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. In today's video, we're going to talk a little bit of news that we got on Tesla, some updates there. But before we hop into that, guys, hit that sub button. It's the best way to support the channel. We're trying to grow the channel to 4,000 subs, so that's the best way you guys can help us grow the channel and the community is by hitting that sub button. Also, link in the description for the Patreon if you guys want to hop into our Discord to get you access to our portfolios and the Discord portfolio that we started the other day. But that pretty much sums it up. So without further ado, let's give us some razzle dazzle and hop into it.
So the Model 3 is now the best-selling car in Italy. So in March, Tesla, the Model 3, outranked Fiat's 500 and Renault's, they have two different ones, sales. So they sold, of the Model 3, they sold 1,363, and those were in Italy last month. So Fiat had the Fiat 500, they have an EV version. They did 1,056. The Smart 42, which I didn't even know was a thing, they sold 759. And then the two Renault ones, the Renault Twingo was 738, and the Renault Zoe was 721. So the closest, competitor was the Fiat, the 500. They sold a little over 1,000, but they were getting outsold by one of the competitors, and now they are back at the top. So that is good for Tesla if you own Tesla stock.
Right. Well, I mean, they're dealing with multiple competition. With China, they got NIO, Li, XPeng, all those guys, and then they're dealing with Volkswagen in Europe.
Yeah, and I mean, even these,
that's just another competitor.
Right, all these other companies are starting with EVs. It's not just Tesla anymore. Like I said,
right.
Smart has their own EV, which I didn't even know was a thing. And then Renault, which I know is big over in Europe and stuff, they have two models that are competing with Tesla's Model 3.
Right.
So that's, they got a lot of competition now. So yeah, I think, as we said before, competition's good, but Tesla's not going to be always blowing everybody else out of the water just because nobody else has EVs. Well, everyone's starting to get EVs now, so.
Right. And I think that's good, Tesla doing that. And I also think that with them being more than just a car company, I've seen you could see other EV companies doing the same thing. Look at NIO. NIO's doing a similar things as Tesla. Yeah. Lucid's kind of doing the same thing. We're going to talk about that here in a second with Tesla becoming more than a company, or a car company. But I think they're headed down the right path when it comes to the competition and how they're handling it. So I think it's just a matter of letting it play out, I guess. But on that kind of news that we were talking about with them being more than just an EV company, they are partnering with a power company in New York called Swell Energy, and they are, if we look at the screen, let me go ahead and hop it over here real quick. It allows people in, I don't know if they're called this is in Queens, so I don't know if Queens is just like a suburb of New York or how it's broken up. But it's basically for homeowners in Queens. So I guess if you guys are in Queens, you could possibly apply for this. I don't know how much it's going to cost, but we'll get that here in a second. But it allows you to sign up to get a virtual power plant, which is basically, after looking at it, it's like a big battery stuck to the side of your house, powered by solar panels, or it could be fed off of the main power line to feed the battery. So that way, if the power goes out or anything like that, you have backup power. But they're signing up with Swell. This was in one of the news articles we were reading today. They're going to do it for the first 300 homeowners. They're to reserve a spot or whatever that they'll partner with. But if you look at Tesla's website, I was looking this up, and I kind of base this off my house. They base it off of how much you pay in electricity on the website. So for me, my average electric bill is anywhere between 100 and 150 bucks. So I just put it at 125. And so they were recommending a 12.24 kilowatt hour solar panels, which looks like it takes up the length of a garage, like an average size garage. And then they wanted 3 power walls. I'm assuming just like inside the garage or something like that. And that takes up, between both of those, I'm looking at like $24,000. But you get the tax credit. So there's a tax credit there of almost $7,000 off of that.
That's pretty good.
So that kind of goes back to what we were talking about earlier about, the Biden trying to push out tax credits for the EV industry itself. So they're already doing it for solar panels. I don't see why they wouldn't do it for the EV industry. It's just a matter of how much. So I think this is another, another fantastic way that Tesla's going to keep bringing in income, bringing in revenue. Nobody ever hears about the Tesla solar panels. I mean, how many times do you ever hear about a solar panel from Tesla?
Right.
Like never. So I think this is a good way for them to keep bringing in revenue. I do think it's a great thing that they could team up with like other energy providers to help mitigate the costs, because $24,000 is a lot for solar panels and backup power.
Yeah.
Like that's a lot of money. And according to the Swell Energy, it says Swell will cover a portion of the upfront costs. So who knows? Who knows how much they're going to cover? But it's going to be better than paying the full $24,000.
Right.
So I think this is a good thing that they're kind of doing that to kind of bring people over to the solar panel industry. I think it's just another step in the direction of the green energy.
Yeah, and I know in Florida there's a lot of people starting to put solar panels on their house. I know a guy I just work with just did solar panels on his house.
I mean, I can see the benefit to it, but they're still pretty expensive too.
And like you said, you have backup power for when the electricity's out, but actually, at least here in Florida, if the power is out and you have solar panels, you have to turn yours off, because if they're working on the lines, you're feeding electricity into those lines. So, that's not good.
That's cool.
So, you think, oh, I got this power wall, I got this battery backup. Well, unless they come up with some other way, at least here in Florida, you're not really allowed to use that even when the power is off. So it doesn't really help you as, in that way. It's really just to cut your energy bill. It's not like it doesn't replace a generator or anything. So at least currently,
right.
But I mean, they could come up with something that, it kind of isolates it from the actual power grid, but we'll see.
Right. But yeah, so that's pretty much going to wrap up this video. If you guys like this kind of content, hit that like, share, notification bell, all that good stuff. It really helps to support the channel. Also, link in the description for all that Patreon stuff that we talked about earlier at the beginning of the video. And again, thank you guys so much for all the support you've given us so far, and we'll see you in the next one.